guys, welcome again for another standard deck tech for Capena. So for today's topic, we're going to check on the deck that we call as the recent version of the Reanimator, purely from the main colors of Grixis, with the superstar card from Crimson Bow with Olivia Crimson Bite. So we recall her ability, wherein with attacks, you can return target creature card from graveyard to the battlefield tap and attacking. So it also gains when they don't control a legendary vampire, exile this creature. So for 6 mana cost, you can basically have a hasty Olivia. We can basically brought out a certain Stumpy or sort of a late game creature to the battlefield for free, and also get to attack with it for a huge amount of damage. So we're gonna check what are the card components of this build. So aside from Olivia, we have 4 copies from the Capena's title of industry. So this will be the ideal target for the animation, given that it has ETB effects and also a 7/7 trampler, and having Olivia to make it haste is basically a good amount of damage already dealt the turn it comes to the battlefield. So along with it, we also have Dust Mangler. This is from Selby, with an effects of additional cost, but since we're going to bypass this casting, we're just going to go with its ETB effect, wherein its opponent sacrifices a creature, discards a card, and loses 4 life. In addition to it, we'll also have a 5/4 treater, which also can be a good threat on its own. But the good thing is that having its ETB effects, where it can basically kill out a good creature, having also opponents discard a card, and at the same time, if ever their life total goes below 4 life, basically a good hit with this 4 life loss from their opponents. So we don't check for the instant sorcery, wherein we can just basically play out this card from your tap library or from your hand and put it into your graveyard. So we have 4 copies of Cathartic Pyre, since this is sort of a utility creature, because you can basically have to deal 3 damage to a creature or planeswalker if needed, and at the same time it can make you discard your creatures, you use creatures, and then draw that many cards to replace and go into playing your lands, or just basically get up to your reanimation spells. So along with it, we also have Otherworldly Gaze. So look in the top 3 cards and then put any number of them in your graveyard, and basically it's not a card draw on its own, but just basically sky out the good cards on the top, and then of course having to put out the big creatures in the graveyard, also having a flashback on its own, which lets you play twice of this spell if needed to curb out your land drops and your reanimation again. For Charismatic Command, also a utility spell, wherein you have many ways to discard a card, and then having a treasure token to ramp up to your reanimation or to your Olivia. And then we also have 8 copies of our sorcery, wherein you can just play out your creatures to battlefield. So this one we have Graveyard Shift, and it has flash as long as there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard. It can be possible with certain situation, but having to return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield is also a good hard cast effect. But the flash is just not really an added bonus for it. Then we have Return Upon the Tide. So Return has a foretell of 4, which means you can just play it for 2 on turn 2 if you have no other plays, and then just foretell it for 4, basically making it a 4 mana Zombify deck with Zombify effect, wherein if it's the target creature is an elf, you can have a bonus of creating 1/1 elf for your creature tokens. But basically, based on our creature lists, it's not really the bonus that we want, but basically having this huge creature put into the battlefield as early as possible. So along with it, we also have Fable the Mirror Breaker. Also has its discard effect in its second tick of the lore counter, But basically having a 2/2 creature that produces treasure with its attacks basically ramp you up also. And at the same time, if you were to stick in its other side, the reflection of Kikijiki, you can basically put out multiple copies of the Titan of Industry and making copies, which means that more ETB effects, more attackers on 7/7 trample, and other effects that can basically ruin your opponent's game plan. So I think this is the stable build of the deck with 36 non-land in total, having 11 creatures with 8 reanimation effects along with Olivia, and at the same time we have a few various mana fixers with it, with the Thunder's Launch as our main tri-land catering Grixis, and that also has a cycling effect if needed to draw for extra cards. So this might be a very basic build if we are going to arena with a best of one matchups, but for maybe for the sideboard setup we can have cards like duress or discard effects. You can also have spot removals if needed, or the likes of Mythok Massacre in the sideboard if we're going to go against aggro decks, and we need decks that can basically out maneuver your life before they can set up your huge creatures or your Olivia. So overall, the only weakness of the deck can be with the unlicensed hearse, which are mostly added in the most sideboards of various mid-range and control decks, but upon setting up you can just go wide or go grinding with the hard by hard casting them, or just basically have some artifact removal, since we also already have a prismatic command for the effect to destroy it, and we have additional abrades or the likes of abrades, for example, in duress to take out those graveyard hate before they can basically establish it or cast it on their turn. So overall, that's about it, the Grixis Reanimation deck. If you try this in your build for your arena daily grinding sessions, maybe just comment out what your other observations of this build, and what do you recommend to change among these creatures. Maybe add additional more threats on this, maybe variants in the discard effects or reanimation on this one. So I would like to welcome all of them in your comment below. And wrapping up this video, thank you for checking this, and see you in the next Standard Deck Tech.